Sometimes it really is just one simple sentence, something that just cuts through all the noise and makes things click.
Yeah, not some complicated theory, just a few words hitting right.
Exactly. And the one we're digging into today, looking at all this material you shared, is one day or day one, you choose.
It sounds so simple, almost like a throwaway line.
Right?
But there's a lot packed in there, isn't there?
Absolutely. So that's our mission for this deep dive, right?
Yeah.
To really unpack that choice, we've got articles, notes, bits of research here,
Mhm.
all sort of pointing towards this difference between, waiting for that perfect moment that never comes
Uh-huh. The one day.
and the kind of quiet power of just starting, even when it feels messy or incomplete.
Yeah, and the sources definitely give us different angles. They show what that one-day habit actually costs, maybe more than we think, and what choosing day one really means, what it unlocks.
Okay, let's start there then. This one day idea. It feels nice initially, almost gentle.
Right, like you're being patient with yourself.
Yeah, I'll get to it someday when things calm down or when I feel inspired, holding out hope.
It does feel softer.
Hmm.
But what a lot of these sources highlight productivity stuff, even some psychological takes, is that one day is often just, well, it's delay.
Delay wrapped up like a dream.
Exactly. Think about it as one day ever actually land on your calendar.
Never. No date, no commitment.
Nothing specific.
Hmm.
So nothing actually moves. It just sort of floats there.
And the longer it floats, the heavier it gets. I've felt that. It stops feeling like this hopeful possibility and starts feeling like pressure.
Yeah, or guilt.
Definitely guilt. You see other people maybe doing their thing, and that someday you promised yourself starts looking a lot like never gonna happen.
hmm And what's really interesting, especially in some of these behavioral notes we have, is this idea of it being an expensive promise.
Expensive how?
Well, obviously it costs time, right? Time you're not spending on the thing you want. But it's also energy, mental energy. Thinking about starting, planning to start, feeling bad about not starting.
That takes up bandwidth.
Bandwidth you could be using to actually do the thing.
Precisely. And over time, that waiting, that cycle, it chips away at your confidence, your belief that you'll actually follow through. Self-trust gets eroded.
Wow, yeah. That's a huge cost when you put it like that. And the waiting, it hides behind such reasonable excuses sometimes.
Totally reasonable. I just need more time. Who doesn't?
Or, I need to feel motivated first.
Yeah.
Or, ugh, just let me get through this week.
Right. And one summary here points out these aren't necessarily lies we tell ourselves, but they become really convenient ways to avoid the slight discomfort of just beginning.
They become habits. Waiting becomes the default setting for that particular goal or dream.
Exactly. And that's the danger. When waiting is the default, you start maybe subtly building an identity around not doing it.
Oof. Like, I'm the kind of person who plans but doesn't start.
Or, I dream big, but I always get stuck. You end up living more in the idea of your life, in your head.
Than in the actual, living of it. Scrolling, replaying, feeling stuck when you're actually not rooted down at all.
Okay, so that's the pull of one day. Pretty strong. How do we break free? How do we actually choose day one?
Right, so shifting gears to day one. The sources are pretty unified on what day one is not.
Okay, what's it not?
It's not about suddenly feeling 100% ready. It's not waiting for inspiration to strike like lightning. You don't need a perfect plan or a new year or a Monday or anyone else's permission.
Right, it cuts through all those conditions we set for ourselves. So what is it then?
It seems to boil down to just willingness. Are you willing to try?
Willing to just begin.
Yeah, willing to start right now, in this moment, even if you have zero clue how it'll turn out. Even if step two is a total mystery. It's like taking a breath and just going, okay, now.
And that starting doesn't have to be some huge leap, right? It's not about intensity necessarily.
Not at all. It's just about showing up, even quietly, even imperfectly. And this is where it gets really interesting, because a theme across these notes is that day one usually doesn't feel amazing.
Doesn't feel magical.
Nope. Often feels awkward, uncertain, definitely imperfect.
Yeah.
And that feeling is the hurdle. That's why people bail.
Because they think the awkwardness means they shouldn't be doing it or they aren't good enough.
Exactly. They mistake that initial discomfort the beginner's feeling for proof that they're on the wrong track. They think starting means you have to feel competent right away.
That's such a key point. So day one doesn't need to be impressive. It just needs to be real, honest.
Yeah. There was that anecdote in the notes, right? Someone trying to write, feeling totally blocked, inner critic going wild.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Instead of giving up, they just wrote one sentence, one really clunky, terrible sentence.
Not good, not inspired.
Not at all. But it was real. It was ink on paper. That was their day one. Not the day they wrote something brilliant, but the day they chose the messy reality over the clean one day.
Okay, that connects to something else here about clarity. We wait for clarity, right? Like, we need the whole map before we take a step.
We do. But several sources suggest clarity often comes after you start. Like insight follows action, not the other way around.
Like opening a window by walking towards it, not waiting for it to open first.
Exactly. You don't need to know the destination precisely. You just need to be willing to move in a direction. Intentionally.
So day one is less about performance and more like giving yourself permission.
Permission. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Permission to start messy. Permission to learn as you go. Permission to try and maybe not nail it perfectly.
Permission just to show up for yourself.
Right. And there's this mention of a quiet peace on day one. It's subtle. It lives right next to the discomfort.
Peace. Even with the uncertainty.
Yeah, the peace of just doing, of being present in the attempt. Even if the attempt feels small or clumsy, you're finally in motion.
Okay, that makes sense. And it leads into how real change actually happens. Because it's usually not that one big dramatic moment, is it? According to these sources, anyway.
I know, we love that idea, the overnight transformation, the movie montage.
Right. The quick fixes.
But lasting change, it's almost always slower, more unassuming, built in tiny moments.
Like what kind of moments?
Like showing up for 10 minutes when you felt too tired for an hour. Like saying a gentle no when you normally say yes.
Right.
Like reading just one page. It's not the rare heroic effort. It's the small, consistent stuff.
That builds momentum. That's the key word here, momentum.
Absolutely. And it doesn't come from one huge push. It comes from repeat effort. Small, steady, frequent, daily, ideally, even if tiny.
But that's where we get tripped up, right? We look at that tiny step, write one line, walk around the block, clean one drawer, and we think,
What's the point?
yeah, that's not enough. That won't solve anything.
But enough for what? Maybe it doesn't solve the whole problem today. But does it change your direction?
Ah, yes. It absolutely changes your direction, even slightly.
And that shift, however small, is huge. Remember that analogy of pushing the heavy rock?
Mm-hmm. The first push feels impossible.
Right. Barely moves. Feels like wasted effort. But every push after that, even if it feels the same, adds force. It builds. The rock isn't lighter, but your ability to move it grows.
You're building momentum.
You are. And that gentle reminder pops up again and again in these notes. It's better to do a small thing consistently than a big thing once in a blue moon.
Read one page daily instead of planning to read a book someday.
Exactly. Practice stillness for 2 minutes. Send that one email. Have that one slightly difficult conversation. These aren't just tasks as a list.
They're proof.
They're proof to yourself. Proof that you're becoming someone who shows up, even when tired, even when it's not perfect, even when nobody's watching.
And those small choices, repeated, they weave together, they build a rhythm, they build capacity. They actually start to shape your identity over time.
Yeah, you build strength, you build motivation, not by waiting to feel it, but by moving anyway. Let integrity be your reason. Let showing up for your future self be the reason.
Because it's always easier to keep going once you're already moving.
Always. And somewhere in that journey, that shift from waiting to starting, there's this click, this realization.
What's that?
That this isn't just a story you're watching unfold. It's your story.
Not the curated highlight reel online.
No, not the idealized version you compare yourself to. It's yours, right here, right now. The messy, real thing.
That shifts you, doesn't it, from being just an observer, someone scrolling through other people's lives.
You be a participant in your own. You stop waiting for the plot to happen to you. You realize you're holding the pen.
You're the author.
You're the author. Which doesn't mean you suddenly know the ending or have the perfect outline.
Right.
It just means you're willing to ask better questions and to write real scenes. Scenes where you try.
Yeah.
Scenes where you rest. Scenes where you walk away from stuff that isn't working. And scenes where you walk towards something uncertain but true for you.
Yeah.
It's letting go of that pressure for your life to be some kind of impressive bestseller.
It just has to be. Yours. Authentically yours.
Exactly. And you don't need some big signs from the universe to start writing it, or permission, or for the fear to magically disappear.
Just look down at your hands.
Yeah, the sources keep coming back to that simple physical reality. Look at your hands. They're capable. They're right here. You hold the power to choose the next sentence, the next action.
Your story doesn't have to be allowed to matter.
Not at all. Doesn't need drama to be meaningful. It just needs to be lived, page by page, small act by small act.
Written in those daily choices, the internal self-talk.
The moments of forgiveness for not being perfect, the willingness to try again.
And the choice to just begin again, whenever you need to.
Because you are absolutely allowed to start over. You can change course. You can rewrite lines that don't feel right anymore.
The pen's in your hand.
Yeah.
And there are always blank pages.
Always. So.
Yeah.
That brings us right back to that core question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you're thinking all this through.
What has one day cost you? You, listening right now. What has it really cost so far?
And could today, could right now, this moment, be the time you decide is day one?
For something, anything.
Yeah. There's a real quiet strength in just deciding, deciding you don't need everything lined up perfectly.
You just need today to be different, even in one tiny way.
One text sent, 1 minute of quiet reflection, one small step towards that thing that's been pulling at you.
And just by listening to this, by engaging with these ideas, you've already done something. You've shown up for your own reflection.
You've been present.
Maybe that's the real point of exploring topics like this. It's not just about getting information.
No, it's about returning to your own curiosity, isn't it? Your own sense of what matters to you, your why.
It reminds you that you don't have to be some perfect, unstoppable force.
You just need to stay close to what feels true, what pulls you forward, even if it's gentle, even if it's quiet.
So the next time you hear that whisper, oh, I'll do that one day.
Pause.
Yeah, just pause. Remember this conversation. And ask yourself honestly, could today be day one?
Because that willingness to just begin small, imperfect today, that, according to everything we've looked at, seems to be the profound choice. The thing that separates dreaming from doing.
It's the first mark on the blank page.